You are watching your award-winning cable access station, Channel 13 and 19, Athol Orange Community Television.
Hi, this is Hattie Nessel, and I'm at Athol Orange Community Television. Today is May 4th, 2017, and the program is called Save the Planet Updates. And we are always working on what is happening with the environment, and worldwide, statewide, whatever it is. And one of the things that's happened this week is that the cutting of 14,000 trees has started. It started on Sunday with a special waiver because they're not supposed to work on Sundays, and they told us they weren't going to start cutting on Sunday. But they started on April 30th, Sunday, cutting down the 14,000 trees in the Otis State Forest, which is on Article 97 in our state constitution law, and it was supposed to be able to be protected. That has not happened. We have not been able to protect. It's at Spectacle Pond Farm in the Otis State Forest, and we're showing you a few pictures from what happened on Tuesday. So Tuesday, we found out, of course, that they were starting to cut the trees. They use these huge machinery, like no chainsaws. They use the machinery that is like a cherry picker, but on the end of it is a blade, and they go right through, boom, 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 through the trees, that 14,000 trees. They're supposedly going to be cutting 2,000 trees a day. That was their intention. One of the things about this whole operation is that it is managed, supposedly the permitting is managed by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. By the way, it's showing a picture now of 9 of us who ultimately were arrested standing across the road, one of the 4 access roads where they take the big equipment in, and you can see us standing there on the stone that they put down because it was very muddy to get their big trucks to go through, and we're blocking the road. So one of the problems is that the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, according to U.S. Representative Richard Neal, who's in the district where this pipeline is, out in Sandusfield, in the Berkshires, abutting the state line between Massachusetts and Connecticut, very close to the New York State. The Federal Energy Regulatory Commission should not be permitting tree felling for a natural gas pipeline through the Otis State Forest until the empty seats, the agency's empty seats, are filled, according to U.S. Representative Richard Neal. And this comes from a report filed by Mary Cerisi in the Republican on April 26th. The Washington-based commission has been operating without a quorum since January, but on April 12th issued a notice to proceed with tree cutting and construction for the Connecticut expansion project in Berkshire County. Neal entered the pipeline frame Monday with a letter to FERC, asking the agency to revoke its April 12th notice. Neal now joins U.S. Senators Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey, who last week wrote a similar letter to FERC. The project proposed by Kinder Morgan subsidiary Tennessee Gas Pipeline Company would send a 4-mile pipeline corridor through the state forest in the town of Sandusfield and build 14 miles of infrastructure in 3 states, New York, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. It has been bitterly opposed by local and regional environmentalists. The 3 Massachusetts Democrats assert that the commission may not authorize pipeline construction, with only 2 out of 5 members seated on the commission. They further maintain that FERC must hold a long-promised administrative hearing before letting contractors enter the state forest with chainsaws and heavy equipment. So Neil says transparency is the utmost priority in the regulatory process. Quote, "It is my belief that this rehearing should occur before a single tree is cleared and construction on this project commences." Warren said FERC acted outside its authority when it issued the construction permit. FERC can't, quote, "FERC can't issue an authorization for tree felling while a rehearing request is still pending. While the pipeline would cross Massachusetts conservation land, it would only serve natural gas customers in Connecticut. The project has endured arcane machinations in Beacon Hill and was the topic of landmark civil litigation that effectively pitted the Massachusetts Constitution against the U.S. Natural Gas Act. As for FERC, its empty seats will be filled if and when President Trump appoints new commissioners, which must be approved by the U.S. Senate. Neil's letter coincided with 2 motions filed with FERC by a coalition of environmental groups led by Massachusetts Pipeline Awareness Network, or MassPlan. In the meanwhile, we were out there on Tuesday in response to the felling of the trees, which started, as I said, on Sunday. We're going to try and get that live footage for the next program. We need permission to use it, but you can see us across the driveway there with a chain, behind the chain, trying to stop, which we did. We were there at 6:30 in the morning on Tuesday, and we weren't arrested until about after 10 o'clock. So 9 of us were on this easement arrested, and the others were on another easement being arrested. So there were 18 people arrested altogether. We were taken into custody after 10 o'clock by the state police in that region and put into the state police jails in that area, and then booked and transported up to the Berkshire Court in Great Barrington, where the magistrate gave us permission to leave and come back for arraignment on May 11th. So next Thursday we'll be going to court on this. And one of the things that we're going to be citing is the necessity defense. We're going to be pleading not guilty and bringing into play the necessity defense. In the U.S. criminal law, necessity is a form of defense where the defendants argue that their actions are necessary to prevent a greater evil. A person can use this defense when they're trying to stop a harm, and the burden to prove is on us. The harm the defendant wants to avoid is the harm done to the forest, the Otis State Forest. And we will say that we were trying to stop the prohibited action when the other danger passed. The defendant had not created the other danger, which is the cutting of the trees. So we are going to be saying that our rights are to stop the felling of these trees. And it was the only recourse we had because they were actually in violation of the law because FERC is not doesn't have its full 5 commissioners. We would ask people to call Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren's office at 617-565-3170. 617-565-3170, and ask her to try to get an injunction to stop the felling of these trees. And the other person to contact, of course, is Governor Baker, and he should be concerned about this because this infrastructure really is very damaging to our country, our state, our water, etc. And we have Governor Charlie Baker's telephone number on the screen for you also. And I just want to quickly add one little addition here, that the City of Newton City Council, March 6, 2017, passed a resolution in support of fossil fuel divestment. And they are asking the Massachusetts legislature to stop putting any money into funding that is any banks or any pension funds, mutual funds, where fossil fuel is supported by and endorsed and invested in the fossil fuel industry. So that was put in by the City of Newton Retirement and Retiree Health Assets invested by the Pension Reserves Investment Management, which is called PRIM, and the Pension Reserve Invested Trust, PRIT. So hopefully within the next several days or week, we will be getting the footage that we can air on AOTV of the actual arrest and demonstration at Otis State Forest. Thank you very much for listening to AOTV Stop the Pipeline Updates today. Thank you.